Let's talk about the spying bill. So, as many of you may be aware, there's been a lot of news lately about Australia. There have been protests over the lockdowns. The lockdowns are the most draconian thing we've ever seen. Meanwhile, like Chris Hemsworth is surfing on the beach and he's have a smile on his face. And even though the beach is under a strict lockdown where you're not allowed to leave your house, but the rich people seem to be okay. But everybody else is kind of complaining as to why they're locked down. People are protesting. Hundreds of people are getting arrested. And now we have this on top of it. Australian powers to spy on cybercrime suspects given green light. I love how they say cybercrime suspects. Coalition bill to create powerful new warrants allowing authorities to modify and delete data and even take over accounts passes the Senate. That is amazing. They say the Identify and Disrupt bill passed the Senate on Wednesday, despite concerns about the low bar of who can authorize a warrant, and the government failed to implement all the safeguards recommended by the Bipartisan Joint Committee on Intelligence and Security. And apparently it was just sped through Parliament or whatever. Is that how it works? You guys have Parliament? Yep. And then they just rubber stamped it. So imagine this. You are talking to your friends about, hey, I think this lockdown stuff's pretty bad. And then all of a sudden you get a knock on the door and they're like, we have copied all of your phone's photos and video and everything. We own it. And we found ourselves a crime. Because come on, there's I'm sure it's similar in Australia like it is here. There's just so many laws in the books. You're always breaking laws. Isn't there a book about this?
Yeah.
We had someone talk about it
4 crimes a day or something.
Yeah, 4 crimes a day people are committing. Yeah, and not only that, but if they have access to your phones, your communications and all that stuff, there could be a joke. And they'll be like, nope, that's serious. You could jokingly say something like, oh, I would do X, Y, or Z, and there was one story we saw of a guy who was posting memes or something in a Discord server, and then the cops came and arrested him because it was public. So anyway, let's just talk about, Australia is a country of monsters and dragons and mythical beasts that always want to kill you. Mm-hmm. Most of the country is a barren wasteland of death.
Yes, also true.
And there was a story about a woman whose Apple Maps told her to take a wrong turn, and then she drove 500 miles into the outback, and then car broke down and she was stranded because just the country is, it's like a death pit full of monsters, and the places that were safe, the cities, have now been overrun by full-on fascism. That they're going to arrest you, lock you in your home. There's a video of a woman walking on the street and the cop starts beating her because she wasn't wearing a mask, even though she had a medical exemption.
Yeah, he dragged her to the ground. They dragged her to the ground.
Yeah.
Dead set.
So let's just start by asking. I'll ask you, Sydney. What the hell is wrong with you people?
I've been asking that about her for a long time.
Honestly, it's funny because people always ask me, why did you leave Australia? And this is sort of why. On an unironic note, and I don't want to shit on Australians too much. Sorry, I've already ruined your don't swear thing. I'm sorry. All right. Darn it. So, I don't want to rag on Australians too much because I do love Aussies. But dead set, I got to a point where I was like, this is a bloody prison. This is actually a prison, and I want out.
It's always been.
I know, but I didn't realize it until I was like, oh God, I'm the only. Well, I feel like I'm the only person living in the Communist Republic of Victoria that actually gives a damn about freedom and doesn't want to. Live in, abject government overrun horribleness for the rest of my days. So I was like, let's go to America.
You're in Texas.
I know.
That was you were begging for freedom,
I was, yeah. I want to turn 1,000.
And single too, by the way. She's still not married.
I'm trying so hard.
I'm just saying, she's not married.
I'm trying to help.
Any guy that wants to show her a life of freedom.
Lydia's trying to help.
She has the dream of living on a ranch.
I do. With horses. I want some cows. Oh God, cows are so cute. They'll cuddle you. Did you know that?
They'll put your finger in their mouth and they'll suck on it.
That is so weird.
Apparently it feels good. I've never done it.
What?
Someone told me that.
How
I'm a vessel of knowledge.
How does that come up in conversation?
Yeah. I like cows too, basically is what I'm saying.
But
yeah, we know.
Is it just fingers? Is it just fingers?
Of course.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I was just asking. No, but it's funny because Kez, I guess they don't know that's my wife, but Kez actually said the same thing. People are like, how did she just leave Australia
about
so
cows,
easily?
sticking your finger in a cow's mouth.
She was like, no, well, wow, that's gonna start calling instead of the storks brought the baby. It was like, oh, how are babies made? You stick your finger in a cow's mouth, and then it
sucks on your finger.
No, but I was missing.
Ian, you're on the internet too much.
Yeah, I'm like,
Everything I said was true.
I'm like, lively, 'cause it's too much over there. No, but she was like, people go, why was she willing to move over here so quickly? Because a lot of people are in two camps in Australia that people don't understand. I would say the majority of people are very subservient, that they trust the government, that they think the government is on their side. If you deny and you fight against the government, to put into perspective, we did a podcast together, and some people that I know over there were saying that we sounded communist because we were questioning the government, and we are very far away from communists. Go to Vosh or something if you want to watch communism. Don't go to Slightly Offensive or Sydney Watson, our shows. But the point is that there's this camp of people, I would say it's about 1/3 or less, that are just like, we are so sincerely effed, and I'm going to probably need to get out of here, and I don't know how. And we meet Australians all around America that got the green card lottery that wanted to get out because people are so cucked out and subjugated to this crown and to the authority. They can't think for themselves, and they look at the people who are against the government as being like bad behaved citizens.
Yeah.
Like they're bad people morally.
There was a manhunt for a guy because he was coughing in the elevator. Well, because he had COVID.
No, because he left lockdown.
Because,
and then,
he apparently he was told. So there's this guy. He was told to go quarantine at a hotel, and so there's video of him leaving his apartment, and they're like, "Look at him in the elevator sneezing." Like, what? Well, that's a weird thing. But apparently they found him in a hotel quarantining,
Right.
and they're like, "You're under arrest, mate," and then they drag him out, and people are cheering. And
yeah,
the
didn't he get like 8 months in prison or something like that?
No.
Wasn't
That was the protester.
I know. Well, perhaps I'm wrong. Someone should double check me on this. But I think they might have arrested him and done, like, I'm pretty sure that
They arrested him like he was a terrorist. They put him in garbs and masks and gloves and carried, physically dragged him out.
None of this is new. I can't stress this enough to Americans. None of this is new. It's not like this is something that someone just pulled from the sky, that politicians suddenly were like, oh, you know what, let's become draconian. No, this is honestly part of my frustration with Australia. It always has been. This is why I left, because Australians, in a lot of ways, and I think I've said this probably on this show before, and I know I've certainly said it on your show, but Aussies, in a lot of ways, I'm not saying all Aussies, but a portion of them view security as much more important than freedom. So when you have that as the primary mentality and the primary prevailing attitude of most of your population, or at least a large portion of the population, then of course what we're seeing at the moment is a byproduct of that. And people just roll over because they go, oh, if we follow the law, daddy government will give me my rights back. Honey, when was the last time the government did anything for you?
I think it was Dave Smith who said there's nothing more permanent than a temporary government program.
Seriously, honestly,
or maybe he was quoting.
He was quoting. I forget who it was, but he was quoting.
He said that on this show.
Yeah.
Anthony Karam has not been sentenced. He was just charged, but he was denied bail, and he's been charged with 13 offenses. They called him public health enemy number 1.
It's ridiculous.
Allegedly went on the run. I love how in the news report they've got 5 cops. And they're in SWAT gear, and they've got a bunch of doctors in full pandemic panic garb. And then they're like, he was refusing quarantine, though he was found in the hotel where the authorities had told him he should quarantine. And I'm like, the crazy thing about the story is, for all I know, they got video of the guy leaving his house to go to the hotel like he was told, and then they were like, oh, but why is he sneezing in public? Arrest him.
Did you guys watch I'm sure some of you saw
Public health enemy number 1.
Yeah,
that should be merch.
Australians are so hyperbolic like that. I don't know if you guys saw, there was a news report about him, and there was, like you were talking about, the Australian commentator was like, this is whatever his name is, Adam steps into it was all so dramatic, and I'm going, the dude has the sniffles. What is happening right now?
No. Well, to be fair, sneezing and coughing without covering your mouth in an elevator, kind of a dick move.
Yeah, a little bit.
Not worthy of a manhunt.
Was anybody else in the elevator with him?
No, but still, come on.
Yeah, increasing viral
Was
load.
he spitting on the window? I don't.
Sneezing
He
down.
was being nasty.
Yeah.
He was being nasty. But I will say this. Go to any major metropolitan area in the United States, and it's quite a similar experience. In fact, I think you just fit in. But in Australia, people are very prim. They are very proper. In a lot of the major cities, it's very clean. Compared to U.S. cities,
Aussies are very
Australians
clean,
are
yes.
very clean.
Yes.
They're very orderly.
Yes.
And what I want to point out that people don't know is that Australians are also super based with their immigration policies, and have actually take everything very seriously. That could be a threat to their culture, to their ethnic, their monoculture, to any of these things. They see these as huge threats. So it makes sense that you could also take another enemy that could threaten you. And they have that island mentality where it's like, well, we can keep COVID away completely because we're on an island. And so they've taken it to an extremity to where people thought, and I think this is crazy, but they thought that they could essentially remain isolated from the world and never have a COVID death in their country ever, as if respiratory illness.
That's what New Zealand did too.
Yeah, would never ever find their way in.
You know what's funny? I posted on Twitter something to the effect of, I didn't really ever expect to be at a point where we would have these quarantine camps, and yet here we are. And someone responded, and I have to give them props for this. They responded and said, Sydney, you literally take your asylum seekers and send them to an offshore processing detention center. And I thought to myself, yeah, one that I've actually defended in the past. So I mean,
Australia?
Yeah.
Wow.
So what we do is, because we call them boat people, just
Based, yeah, that's awesome.
and the boat people come to the borders, and obviously the Australian police or whoever deals with it, border protection goes nope and sends them to Christmas Island, conveniently named Christmas Island. Has nothing to do with
really
Christmas. Nice. And there they stay. Maybe indefinitely. I'm not sure. So putting your own citizens...
They ship them back. A lot of times they ship them back.
But I mean, it does take a long time, and these people obviously burn down the facilities and break things and, molest and rape each other.
The signs on the beaches are like, if you see their immigration signs, it's something out of like what would be considered here extreme right wing, which is basically just means being epic, where it basically just has like a warship, like almost like tipping a boat of people, and it's like,
don't come here.
Don't come here. You're going to get tipped. Like that's basically what it says.
Wow.
It's so extreme. Like you might die if you try to come here.
We have a deal with Papua New Guinea, and it's basically like, hey, we'll send you all of the asylum seekers. We just don't want to deal with them. But I guess the thing is, right, those are not citizens of Australia. Here.
Take them.
These are not citizens, though. So, I mean, it sounds heartless, and I don't want to get into the immigration debate necessarily, but it sounds heartless to just be like, yeah, okay, but you can't do this crap to your own citizens. These are people that live, work, contribute to your economy, pay tax.
Thanks for checking out this clip from the Timcast IRL podcast. If you want to see the full show, come back to this channel, youtube.com/TimcastIRL, Monday through Friday at 8 p.m., where you can leave comments and super chat, and we actually will read your comments on the show. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and if you want exclusive members-only content, segments you can't get anywhere else, go to timcast.com, become a member, and we even have full bonus episodes. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you all next time.